Kanpai! Welcome. Welcome to Kanpai Cast.
Greetings everyone, how are we all? Today is episode 33, the Winter 22 full review and Spring 22 preview for Kanpai Cast. With me today are my fantastic main hosts, Xenogelion and Nasuth.
Hello.
I am your supplementary host, standing in for MDR Loz. I am Thaylien, and it's a fantastic evening to be recording for you. So, a little bit of housekeeping. Just to remind everyone, we do have timestamps and chapters allowing people to navigate the section of the show that they're interested in watching. For people who are watching on the early access from the Patreon, they might not be quite ready yet. I have to get around to that. But for everybody else, feel free to navigate through. The technology is about to upgrade. We're close to getting the higher quality recording done. Just need to sort out a few background things for rendering the video. And with, further to my other point, with all that, Loz will actually be here next week. So we are celebrating.
With any luck, we're hoping he'll be here. Because, I mean, he was supposed to be here like a couple of weeks ago. But they turned around last minute and said, oh yeah, we can't do it because we couldn't be fucked to get the cable routed properly.
So, if any
those
of the
bastards at Central Services.
Yeah. If any of you guys have suggestions for topics that you'd like to see us cover, topics we already covered that you'd like to see again, maybe a different guest, some twists that we didn't consider, make sure to drop a comment, tell us on Discord or Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, if you like memes, make sure to follow Kanpai_cast on Twitter, because we put out several memes daily curated by Xeno from the dopest Reddit posts.
The dopest.
I say dopest under protest from the scripting here.
Dankest.
I didn't read that.
Dankest memes.
I didn't write that.
So, with all the housekeeping said and done, it is on to the news with Nasuth.
Ooh, it's my time to shine. So, Netflix has reported that more than half of all its worldwide audience watched anime last year. However, the number expands to 90% for Japanese Netflix subscribers. However, this does also include things like He-Man Revelations and Blood of Zeus, which were definitely made by Western companies. I'm sure Castlevania was in there too.
No, because I think Studio Mir is like an East Asian studio that actually produces it. But I think it's directed by the West and things like that. Blood of Zeus I would count as anime.
It was made by wasn't it made by some Greek company though? Greek company? I know there was some Greek people that created it.
Yeah, it's probably like the writers and things, but it was done by the same studio that did Castlevania.
Right. Okay. All right.
So, which is Studio Mir, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've also announced that they are going to have 40 new titles coming to the service in 2022. So that's pretty good. It's a good time for anime.
Yep.
Moving on, IGN reports that this year's E3 event has been officially cancelled, and there will not be an in-person or digital component. It will return in 2023 with a reinvigorated showcase, quote-unquote, live from Los Angeles. Cancellation of the in-person events was announced back in January due to COVID-19 concerns, but now they plan to focus all of their resources on a 2023 live show rather than doing a digital show. And then we've got
it died.
Man, cons have been irrevocably changed because of the whole COVID-19. It's just, It's never going to be the same.
I mean, you think the whole body odor, take a shower situation was a starting point, but apparently no, it had to come to a full world pandemic first.
Right, so we've got 3 quick announcements for upcoming shows. Pacific Rim: The Black, the final season, premieres this month. The preview video lists April 14th as the date, but Netflix says it will actually be the 19th, so who knows what's going on there. I know Xeno's really, really excited for that one. I think I am too.
Yep.
Made in Abyss Season 2 to premiere in July. I'm super excited for that one.
You literally only put that in there because we watched it the other day and you're like, oh my god, I'm so hyped for it.
It's
just going to be the third movie again.
Yeah, well, at least the first half of the season is going to be. And finally, the live-action show Alice in Borderland's second season premieres this December. So still quite a wait, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be so worth it.
if you haven't seen the first season, honestly, it was actually quite good. It's very battle royale, very survival game.
If you like Squid Game, you'll probably like it.
Yes, yeah,
different feel, but similar, similar thing.
Yeah.
And finally, we've had a hard time finding an actual article on this one, and we have scoured the internet. But it has been independently confirmed by a friend of the show that Funimation not only charges more than Crunchyroll, but also has begun running ads for paid subscription accounts, which is just
to clarify, as far as I can tell, it's a single advert, which is to basically advertise Crunchyroll to the Funimation paid for accounts.
Right.
Now, like, Reddit got really up in arms about this. We thought it was like an April Fool's, but we did actually confirm earlier today from someone that we know who has a Funimation subscribed account, and basically it just tells people, that they've merged and things like that. Reddit really kicked up a fuss, the fact that there was any advertising whatsoever. I think it's like a 5-second ad, but Reddit massively exploded over this. And I think even Crunchyroll turned around and said, like, just cancel your Funimation account because
Crunchyroll has officially, they're officially coming out and saying, look, cancel your Funimation. It's all going to be here now. They're not really uploading anything new over there, aside from like stuff that's already
cheaper on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, there's no actual source to this. However, we did confirm independently.
Okay,
mostly Reddit exploding.
So it's not ads. It's just an ad for their other service that's actually better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But even then, when you're paying to not have them.
Yeah.
That's the biggest point of contrivance about the whole thing is people like, but I'm paying not to have adverts. Why am I having adverts? I don't like having adverts. Anyway.
But it's an advert telling you how to save money.
Yeah, but so is Geico. Now, you think that people are going to complain about anything. There was a recent lovely little side article that came up about, these charities that they get from supermarkets where as you pay for something, it says, do you want to drop in the rest of your change as...
Oh, yeah.
There's some guy got absolutely steamed that it was asking him, and it didn't matter whether he wanted to donate or not, but the fact that he had to say yes or no before he could pay, he couldn't just pay without saying no or yes. The idea
I can almost see that, thinking that they're trying to guilt you into it.
Exactly. The fact that in front of other people he has to select no, or that he would have to select no if he didn't want to. It should be a choice, yes.
That's not really any different than them having those jars sitting by the cashier.
No, I argue it's worse.
Yeah, it is worse.
Not only that, but the terms and conditions, right? You can't read it properly on those screens, right? So you don't know what you're agreeing to in the slightest. Yeah? So you could be saying like, do you want to set up a direct debit? Yes or no? And
I see.
Honestly... there's
all sorts of things that these automatic, full screen things of, do you want to donate this money?
I've got another one.
Still, people will complain about all of them.
So my local supermarket, Tesco, if you're in the UK, they have basically turned all of their deal prices to club card members only. So if you have a club card, anyone can get a club card, but if you have a club card, then you can get the buy one get one free or buy two at a discounted price. That's the only way you can get the discount anymore. And I had to painstakingly get my account set up and everything because I originally had an account on the email that I prefer to use for all public facing stuff. Blah 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 blah. So I went to go use the card, so the phone app and things, and I tried to scan in the QR code, it refused to work and things. And I thought, maybe it's like if you have the app open and you put it to the RFID thing, like the chip and pin machine, it will actually read the card like that. And like, nope, I accidentally fucking paid for the bloody thing.
Oh.
So I didn't get the discount. And I had to go up to the cashier. They had to refund the whole thing and then put it back through again. And I was like, fucking Christ, I just wanted to buy some sodding shopping. Why is this so fucking hard now? Anyway.
Is this getting turned on again?
What do you mean?
That could be why it's so hard.
I see.
Sorry, had to make the stupid joke.
But the thing that was utterly ridiculous was the shit I got from the duty manager, and it's like all that for £4. I'm like, I'm sorry, do you know what economy we're living in right now? Right, things are shut up shit's creek. That could buy me lunch for a day, right? Actually, fuck, it could probably buy me dinner as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, take your attitude and fucking check it at the door. Anyway, right? Should we get on with the actual show?
Let's
about shopping.
Let's swiftly move on.
Right. So we're going to change things up a bit, and the first thing we're going to do is do hit or miss at the starts of these. So we're going to give our rating before we go into the discussion of why. And Nasuth is supposed to hit a button he hasn't done.
Was I?
But yes, you were. But not that one. To the right. Yeah, good job.
Oh, but you haven't actually started talking about a show yet.
Fucking hit the button.
Okay.
Right. So I'm gonna say when it comes to part 2 of Vanitas, it's a hard pass. I just tried to actually trigger that. It didn't trigger for me. Can you do it?
Vanitas.
No. Kanpai Cast. Go to Kanpai Cast. I need you to hit the pass button.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's a hard pass, right? The first half of this season was really, really good. But the second half, utter fucking ass. I was so disappointed. The first half of the season was really fast paced. The different plot elements. It was like a 2-episode narrative. So like, if they had to find a mystery, they'd get to the cliffhanger by the odd episode, and then in the even episode, they'd solve the problem, right? With part 2, it's only 2 stories, so they spend 6 episodes on one story and another 6 episodes on the second story. The characters are just sat on their ass doing sweet fuck all for the majority of the time. It's always woe is me. It's like, where the shit did this? It feels like it's written by someone completely different. It feels like, honestly, this is filler. I was genuinely disappointed. Animation wise, looks phenomenal. Introductions of new characters, incredible. Lore about those characters, brilliant. Plot, nil. Nothing fucking happens. I was so upset with this. So if you
under the gazebos rule.
Kinda, yeah. Like it really feels like they kind of rushed this to get it out the door, and it's a real shame because the first half of the season is really good. I mean, at least they kept the animation quality, but I just don't think the literature was there, and thus they just winged the second half of the plot. I mean, minor plot spoiler. I don't want the button on.
Right.
But basically, Vanitas in the first half of the narrative, the first 6 episodes, ends up losing his weapon of choice, which is the Book of Vanitas, right? And it's a special book that allows him to do all sorts of weird and wonderful shit to do with the true names of the vampires, but which is all established in the first episode. And he uses first half of the season. He uses it all the sodding time. But in the first narrative, the first 6 episodes, he loses the book and is then utterly useless until he gets it back. He is pure dead weight and does nothing
Jeez.
for the bulk of it. It's honestly, it's so bad. I was so disappointed.
Not even the best he can, as it were. Just nothing.
Yeah, he's like, but a large part of me feels like they're just trying to stretch out. At no point in time did I ever feel like, Christ, these pauses are too long. At no point in time did I ever feel like the animation is subpar or anything like that. But I definitely felt every episode was that it. Was that the whole episode, right? I mean, I felt that, we'll get to it in more detail later. I felt that on occasion with My Dress Up Darling, but the trick was that the credits came early and there was more after the credits, right? This was nothing. There was fucking nothing there. I'm like,
it's fucking nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, massive. So seriously, like, if you've watched the first half of Vanitas, leave it at that. Don't bother.
I'm really glad I've only watched the first half and gave up on it.
Yeah, seriously. Right.
That's fair enough. So I think I'm starting off with my my first one with a not too awful one. I think I'm starting off with the Land of Leadale.
Yep.
So the rating for this one is an acquired taste. And the reason being, this has no plot.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
That's a pretty damning storage.
It has hints of one, but it is purely wish fulfillment fluff. It started off okay with the whole overpowered isekai kind of thing, where you get a video game has gone silent and this poor person died and woke up in the game. Yeah. And you start the plot with a few characters going out into the world and finding out that, of course, there's no other players, or so she thinks. It's quickly revealed that there might be other players. But the other people on the same level as her, the other 12 people that are on the top level of the game, aren't there. So she's going to go around to their different palaces, their towers, or their home bases, as it were, and see what see if there's anything there that can help her. But she quickly gets to the point of just thinking, well, actually, no, I'm just enjoying life here. So she can deal with pretty much anything that's thrown at them because, in terms of, if it was an MMO in standard life, imagine if somebody playing, say, Final Fantasy XIV had admin privileges because they were that high level.
Right.
Yeah, she can do some crazy things.
I can't remember where I stopped, and I want to quiz you on something you said. Give me 2 seconds.
Go on.
Where is that show?
It is generally just the time. It doesn't really go anywhere, but at the same time, it is cute. It is fluffy. You do enjoy watching it if you like a bit of slice of life on your plate with some, generic adventure stuff going on. If you like overpowered protagonists. So where did you stop, Xeno?
So I stopped what appears to be episode 4, or I think maybe I started episode 5. It was when she got into the serious depression stint. The children were talking. The dwarf son goes to find
nowhere.
Them. Right. Right. I stopped there. Right. Which I thought was like 4 or 5 episodes in, and you said quite early on she finds out about other players.
No, that there might be other players.
How early on is early on?
Well, she's told in the first episode by her own tower guardian that the other that she hasn't heard from the other players in a long time, and so she goes out, and her goal is if there is anybody, they might be over. It might be the other players that are on her level,
right? Okay.
But she eventually becomes convinced, in herself that there isn't any. and that's why the depression keys in.
Right. Okay.
But after that, she's going to go about it anyway, and not to put too... I don't think it's too far into spoilers to say that there are other players.
That's good. I mean, like, I'd hate to watch it and then after I don't know how long discover that, you know, the adventure for other players, and it never actually concludes.
Yeah, but we finished this first series without only having done about 3 things. And she's already decided that, no, actually, she's just going to enjoy some life, settle down, you know, live in the country.
Like you do. I mean, that's the kind of life we'd all want at the end, right? Just a nice, quiet...
Indeed. And there's a lot of fluff with her adopted children and having done good deeds. But there is no plot, so it's an acquired taste. It is enjoyable to watch, but not something that I would recommend to everybody.
Okay, fine.
Cool. Right, so we're going to move on to my first one, which is potentially my favorite of the season. I'm not sure. I haven't completely decided that one, but I do really like it. Tokyo 24th Award because it's sci-fi. So I'm gonna give it a must-watch because I think it is a stunning example of sci-fi, and it's so hard to find sci-fi these days that isn't dark and depressing and makes me want to kill myself. I'm looking at you, Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. But I can't really give this a full review because only episode 11's out. Episode 12, as of the time of this recording, has not aired yet. So if anything changes,
it should be out to the Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if anything changes, I'll let you know next week.
You guys will have seen it by the time the main episode comes out on Friday, but we haven't.
So things I liked about it does a really good job of keeping some information obscured until it's necessary without dangling it in front of you. Like, oh, there's a mystery here. What could the mystery be? It's more like these things come out organically as the episode goes through. It explores the dangers of trading freedom for safety to the point that there's even a riot over the topic in the ward. It talks about the dangers of mind-altering technologies in the hands of the unscrupulous, like companies or military or what have you. It's actually part of how our main characters get their powers in the show, because they receive a phone call and then they're suddenly supercharged, and so this all ties back into that. It deals with how loss can change the entire course of a person's life. So, like, some people deal with loss by trying... it goes back into the whole safety versus security thing, safety versus freedom thing. Some people deal with it by wanting to try and control everything and stop any bad stuff from happening. And other people are like, yeah, but why can't you just, fight as an individual to make things better? It's deals with consciousness and what it means to die. That's a big part that I'm not going to get into. Big spoilers for the end. How propaganda can be used for evil, but how art, which, if you think about it, is also propaganda in a way, can be used to essentially fight against it. It may actually be verging on right to die issues. I'm not sure. Haven't finished it yet. Can't say. Not every episode has a trolley dilemma, even though that was a big thing at the beginning. And it's just fun. It's just really fun.
I'd like to jump in on that note, that not every episode of Trolley Dilemma. I think the fun thing is discovering that the whole series is a Trolley Dilemma.
It's a Trolley Dilemma, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So things I didn't like, just to be completely fair, pacing's a bit slow at times. You'll have an episode of action and then an episode where things slow down into more of a slice of life. But I do feel like that's actually, even though I personally didn't like it, I think it does still have a positive effect on the show as a whole. So far, there's been no real consequences to our main characters aside from emotional ones, and they do get emotional damage. Not to quote Xeno's most hated meme. But there is still some emotional damage in this show, and but no physical stuff for our main characters. There's physical consequences to some of our side characters, but nothing to the main character. While the concepts are well used, they're still tried and true sci-fi tropes in a lot of ways. It's all stuff you've seen before, just used differently. And as a result, the viewer can guess where a lot of this is going before it's explicitly stated. But given that this is probably aimed at young adults, I don't think that's a real deal breaker. You just have to kind of realize the age group that this is aimed towards.
I like the way that when you say that they don't dangle stuff in front of you. I was making the correct guesses. I like to speculate about these, but I was genuinely making the correct guesses. Like only one episode before the actual event revealed it.
Yes.
That was where you saw something and then suddenly it clicked, like something a character was wearing.
Yeah.
Suddenly became very important.
There's like a whole flashback episode, and by that point you've already gleaned most of it, but it's still really good to actually see it play out. Yeah. Yep. So I think that's pretty much it for that one.
Cool.
Any questions? Any questions before you move on? No? Yes, no?
No, we're good.
All
right. I'm going to move on to 86. Because it actually finally got the last 2 sodding episodes.
Oh my god.
Insert Attack on Titan joke.
Oh god. We'll get there.
Oh man, only if that announcement had been made like yesterday and we could have actually had some memes about it. Expect them next week. Anyway, right, sorry. I'm going to say... Am I just reviewing the second part? I'm only reviewing the second part. I'm going to give this... Damn, this is hard. I'm going to give this an acquired taste, right? Personally, I would give this a must-watch if we have confirmation it's getting a second season. Currently, we do not have that confirmation, so we don't know. But, so... This is a bit of a hard one to review, mostly because of how long it took to get the last 2 episodes. The second to last episode very much felt like a giant waste of fucking space, but the last episode kind of made up for it all. Included the first bout of all the shit going on. The second part of the season is quite slow, which is pretty much the main reason why it's in the
acquired taste.
It's pretty because there are episodes where it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, do something. It's mostly towards the end of the season as opposed to the beginning, but yeah, so very much a good conclusion towards the first part, and has a very nice send-off, hopefully, to a season 2. Very much would say that this is... I will say, though, right, again, a little bit of a negative. It was a bit hard to follow what the hell was going on. Now, this may be a subtitles thing that I'm struggling to keep up with the subtitles, or it's making references to stuff. What will work in favor for this? I'm all over the place with this. I apologize. What will work in favor for this is if you watch it all in one go, not over the course of many episodes, of many weeks, right?
Yeah.
So
and you can skip the recap episodes.
Well, I skipped the recap episodes anyway. But that's besides the point. The recap episodes were an unfortunate side effect of like an outbreak in Japan.
True.
But yeah, so it's just stuff like that, and yeah, it does a fairly good job of rounding off characters, of expanding characters, expanding political situations, and finally. Okay, I will tell you this one thing, right? Now I'm gonna tell you this one thing. Can we actually turn on the spoiler tag for
sure
a hot minute? All right. Gonna give you guys a chance to actually skip this if you don't want to listen to the spoilers. the burning question throughout the whole of the second part is what happened to the Major, who's currently on screen right now. Is she coming back? Will we ever get to see her again? The good news is yes. Right? I'm leaving it at that. So we take the spoilers off.
Sorry, I was getting a drink. Goodness.
Well, I'm happy with it. Kind of wish that it wasn't fucking about for the last few episodes, but I would say it is a worthwhile watch, especially if you have already seen the first part.
Very cool.
Do you have any questions?
What genre would you say this is, since it's an acquired taste?
Oh, I would definitely say it's more like sci-fi, military, very heavy on the military side of things.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so
I'm down for that.
Mini mecha.
Yeah, I suppose.
I love me some sci-fi, so I'll do that. I'll get down for that.
Yep.
Well, I am going to have to go with my first pass with the strongest sage with the weakest crest.
Oh, I need to realize I need to hit the button, don't I? Where is that? Where's that dumb show? There's that dumb show.
And this is a definite pass. Don't bother. I clawed my way through the last bit of it. Now, there is one thing you can take away from this show. Okay? This is how you create a Mary Sue / Gary Stu trope. This is
really?
This is the example. Okay, without giving any spoilers, because well, I don't know if anybody will even care about spoilers.
Spoilers.
Imagine. No. I don't think anybody.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Timer. Yes, sorry.
Yes. That'll do it. We've got new technology at the moment, guys, and we're still just keeping track of it in our heads. So, back on track. So, without getting into spoilers, they need to do something. Main character has the answer for it immediately with no, foreshadowing, nothing. So, our dear Matthias Hildesheimer there, the smug-looking little bugger that he is, they want to get past a security checkpoint. Oh, look, there's a secret passage over there that I've just discovered. There's a guard in the secret passage. Oh, look, I'm just going to use my spell I've never even suggested I know before to pass through the wall behind him and take him out. Every time. Even at the very end, the big bad evil guy has escaped and we've now got to face him out. Oh, look, I've got a Deus Ex Machina sword that we've discovered back at the starting town that we were in, and I didn't notice it before now. We can go get that, and it'll help me beat him. It's
fantastic. Lots of plot convenience.
Okay, there is one scene that made me laugh, and it's only because I like that one scene in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. With the bad guy pulls out a very small knife, and Spider-Man goes, "Is that a knife? Oh no, my one weakness, very small knives." And cowers on the ground. Now, similarly, he goes to a town, and because he heals some people in the town, they think he's the party healer and he's the weakest. And it's the only time I think in the whole show that anybody thinks that he's the weakest person there. And he's like, "Oh no, you're that Matthias Hildesheimer person. We have to respect you." No, they try to hold him hostage, wrap him in chains, put a sword to his throat, and they say, "They do what we say, or your healer gets it." And he's the weakest member of your party. And Matthias, absolutely deadpan, just goes, "Wah! I've been captured. Help! Somebody save me!" And all the rest go like, "You couldn't have done that more deadpan. You could have put a little bit more effort into it." and that's it. That's the only time that I managed to laugh at that.
Jeez.
Although I did get one smile scene, which is a montage of them traveling. One of the girls likes to eat, and so there's a montage of them setting up camp and having a nice meal with the old anime meat wrapped around the bones, where it looks like a really big chunk of meat.
Wow.
Yeah, those one. So she's got one of those. And then in the next part of the montage, when they're walking across fields, she's still got one of those. And then in the next bit of the montage, where they're climbing a hill, she's still got it and she's still eating it. And by the time they actually get to the next place, she's just finishing off the last of it off the bone. And I thought, all right, that's a good little character quirk there.
That's
montage,
silly.
Still eating, and that's it. That is it. That's the two total parts of that thing that actually made me feel a positive emotion.
So one positive Loz and I had towards this show was the fact that it was going a mile a minute, right? It was so damn fast. Did it maintain that?
It doesn't slow down. Every episode is a new thing, new town, new enemy, different enemy. New allies, new things popping up, and it's only 12 episodes. And by the end of the 12 episode, they've actually come up with a justifiable reason for a guy this strong to be in the world he's in. But at the same time, it's still the Gary Stu thing where he instantly has the answer to it, and there aren't really any consequences to that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest turnoffs for a lot of these shows. It's just like, because they're too powerful. It's like, well, where the fuck? There's no character growth because you're at the top.
Yeah, exactly.
I get the whole power fantasy thing, but you still gotta make it engaging.
Exactly. So I say they made it justifiable for him to be there. They gave him an enemy that he said, well, one of our options is to hide, cast immortality spells on ourselves, and train for the next 1,000 years, and we might be able to beat him.
Wow.
And I thought that was actually, a thing where they kind of gave the scale of how powerful this enemy was. If it wasn't immediately ruined by them having the Deus Ex Machina sword.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, what can you say? It's a pass. Don't bother, guys.
Yeah.
Unless you want an object lesson of how to create one of these trope characters.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right. Shall we move on to Sabikui Bisco then?
Yep.
Good old Sabikui Bisco, which I am going to give an acquired taste.
That's shocking.
Oh no, sorry. I'm sorry. I was going to give it an acquired taste. Sorry, I didn't read my notes properly. I was going to give it an acquired taste, but based on the ending, I am actually going to have to recommend. Oh, they're overlapping. There we go. I'm actually going to have to recommend a pass.
Oh wow.
I really wanted to like this one. It started out so good. There's a lot of good things I do like about it. The creature designs are absolutely amazing. The rust eater worm they run into, like, at first I thought it was kind of first I thought it was just kind of bland and normal, but then you look closer at it and it's got like human arms for legs, like it's a centipede body, but it's got these crazy human arms on it, and so it's creepy. The bromance between Bisco and Milo felt relatively naturally grown and generally wholesome. There's definitely been at least some thought put into the setting. It took a while for me to realize this metaphor, but I actually like this metaphor. The Tetsujin, the giant robots, which only show up near the end. It's not super a spoiler. I won't tell you anything more about them, but they're essentially a metaphor for nuclear weapons, and the rust, or the rust wind, is radiation or fallout, and hence why mushrooms can counteract it, because we've seen that mushrooms in Chernobyl have learned how to eat radiation. So that's I didn't realize that until very near the end.
Holy fuck! I never worked that out.
The fight choreography is great. The music rocks. The stakes are incredibly high. I mean, they're talking about the fate of the world at this point, or at least Japan. And it ends. It does do the whole hero's journey where it kind of ends where it began, which isn't really a pro or a con. It's just a thing that happens. But it is kind of cool to see how things have changed for Milo. But the cons. Now we get into the bad stuff. Who's winning in every fight keeps constantly shifting every time, and in ways they shouldn't be able to predict or plan for. So it's just kind of like, I knew you were going to do that. That's why I prepared this instead. Oh, but I knew you were going to do that, so I prepared this instead. And it's literally every fight. I swear to God.
Luckily, I brought my bat shark repellent.
I kind of argue against that.
Well, maybe it's only the fights in the second half. Ever since the Milo's fight with the governor onward, it felt like that.
No, it just feels like so much of it became plot contrivance.
Yeah.
Like it's just it didn't feel like, I knew you were going to do that, so I've done this thing to prepare for it. It's just a case of, you have wounded me, warrior. But what is this? I have been infected by some weird spores, and now I am a vampire. You know, it's
yeah.
Like, it's never planned. It's always just like an additional bullshit thing, right?
I'm gonna try to hit the ones that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
In the words of the famous Andy, but I brought my dinosaur that eats fort fields.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to try and skip the ones that are spoilers for now, but I'll get back to them. The villain suffers from exposition syndrome, like a really, really bad case of exposition syndrome. Rusting is so inconsistent that one character's arm breaks off, while another character who's been rusting for years is just fine. Milo might as well be Simone, and Bisco is Kamina. I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding.
There's no E on Simon.
Oh, it's Simone. Come on.
Wait.
They pronounce it Simone because
in the English.
Yeah, but because of that, so that's probably where he's got the E from on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's never. That's a spoiler. Okay, so let's get into the spoilers. Let's get into the spoilers, right? The plot armor is so strong that Milo.
Whoa! The button didn't work.
Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. That's why. I am so smart. I am so good today. Right. The plot armor is so strong that Milo survives being peppered with arrows and later being flung into a wall so hard that the wall craters. And Bisco literally comes back from the dead as a Super Saiyan mushroom god.
Right.
Wait, so okay, I just want to establish they've established that these people are human and wouldn't normally be able to survive that kind of thing.
Oh god, yeah. So,
okay.
There's a lot. So one thing that Nasuth has, I don't know, I may have phased it. I'm pretty sure you didn't talk about this. The narrative is just event after event after event. There is no exploration of the world whatsoever. Why are all these animals absolutely fucking massive?
Yeah.
No idea.
I assume it's mutations from the radiation, but you know.
It could be, but there's no radiation. It's rust, right? They're really adamant to say rust everywhere, which again doesn't make any fucking sense because rust wouldn't have, like, you can see it on her right now. She's infected by the rust. That wouldn't happen, right? Radiation doesn't affect technology like it does humanity. So whatever this thing is that they've called rust affects everything, organic and inorganic, and that just wouldn't happen, right? In real life. But we'll skip over that. But the plot contrivance. So they actually make reference to Terminator 2 in this.
Yes, they do. That was one of the things I was going to bring up.
There's one part where effectively, to kill the bad guy, Bisco plummets into molten metal. It is pretty.
It's molten rust, which is different than metal. It's rust, but whatever.
Well, no, molten rust is iron oxide, so it's molten iron oxide.
This isn't iron oxide. It's rust.
It's rust that can affect organics, so it has to be a little bit different. So it's liquid rust. Does it?
Think about it plunging in. Think about
molten is the important part, right? Molten.
It is definitely
fucking
hot.
Right. Right. So basically, Bisco pushes the villain into the molten rust, and they basically Terminator 2 melt into nothingness. But then the giant nuclear Godzilla man fucking wakes up and starts going on a rampage, right? The Rust Godzilla, right? I'm calling it a Godzilla because it is the size of fucking Godzilla, right? Has never been mentioned before the introduction in this episode, right?
Well, they mentioned it when they were going, yeah. Was that the same episode? I think it was.
It was the same episode.
They do mention the Tetsujin really early on in the show, but you never really understand what the fuck they are until then.
Yeah. It's always alluded to. It was a bomb, right? That caused this whole Rust disaster. It wasn't a fucking bomb. It was fucking Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's, oh my god, there's no proper world exploit. But anyway, yeah. So the bad guy fuses to the Godzilla to wake it up, and then becomes part. The worst, right? The most criminal thing is the Godzilla is CGI up until it gets split in half, and then it's hand animated again.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, what the literal fuck? Right? Seriously.
Very strange. Very strange.
What are you guys up to? So it's yeah, this is a pass. This is definitely a pass.
Yeah, it's going back to that scene where they melt. Well, I mean, if you think about it as radiation, it kind of makes sense for both your complaint and mine, I guess. Mine is that it takes so fucking long for them to burn to death in this molten rust, right?
No, because
Bisco's just sitting there talking to Milo the whole time going, shoot me, let you take my life instead. And it's like, you would be screaming in agony if that was actually molten fire.
Yeah.
If it's radiation,
like,
maybe you'll be like, oh, I'm dying, I've got radiation poisoning.
If it was radiation, they'd be dead the second they went in that room.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
It's just like, aha, time for fight.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well, that went a little different.
It
got super fucking weird, right? So
my final verdict is that I really want to like it, but yeah, I dig the setting, but it's just too weird at the end. I might still watch a season 2 if one came out. I doubt it, but I don't think there will be one. I really hope there isn't one. Anyway.
Okay, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay. World's End pile of shite. The biggest.
I am not associated with this.
Right, the biggest pass I think we are giving this review, right? Like, so for some strange reason, they have set up for a second season. Right?
No.
Yeah, no word of a lie, right? The last episode has about 4 episodes worth of content in it. Right? And it just feels like so much of it was some weird revenge fantasy. It's untrue, right?
Wow.
The plot.
I don't know. You know, the idea of a place where so few men are put in with so many women, could that possibly have anything to do with revenge against somebody?
No. Right. So you can actually have a fantasy where you're the last man on Earth and you're getting to do it with everyone, right? But then it's the way the man treats the women, right? It's because one of the 3 characters is a steaming pile of shit asshole, right? That is the problem, right? He's treating them like hot trash. That is the problem, right? And it's just like, but so much of the show is focused on, I wish that character just didn't exist, because then they could have spent the 4 episodes they did on him on actual plot that they rammed in the last episode. Like, they were going a mile a second in the last episode. I genuinely thought that it was a double length episode, but I had a look and I paused it. I'm like, what the fuck? This is 10 minutes in. What the fuck is going on? Like, why are they just mad? You know. So honestly, fucking pass on this one. They had such an ample, no pun intended, opportunity to make a comedy show out of this, but they had to take it in this weird dramatic fashion. I don't fucking get it. It was fucking boring, dumb, and so the third. I'm okay. Yeah, hit the spoilers button. I don't think anyone's.
Oh my god!
Why'd you keep? Right, I don't think anyone's gonna care about spoilers, but right. In the last episode, the third guy that's left alive, he's like a 16-year-old guy. He goes through some weird operation that they do not give any elaboration to whatsoever, and he grows like a few inches. And basically,
thank God! I thought you were going to say a second penis.
No.
I thought you were going to say lady parts.
No, they actually evolve him. Sorry, they evolve him, but they age him, right? And it's just like, I don't actually know how they aged him, but it was clearly within a matter of like minutes/hours, right? I don't know why they bothered, and also, but they corrected his eyes. They gave him new retinas, so he didn't need to wear glasses anymore. I'm like, do you realize the surgery involved to give someone new retinas? Why didn't you just give him new eyes?
Why don't you just do laser eye?
Fuck, right?
Takes 15 minutes, that does.
Maybe it's a translation error. It could be a translation error. But like, honestly, I don't understand the motive, and it's like that one character really sucks the joy out of the show, right? I mean, he barely had any to begin with, but the whole plot contrivance is basically this organization.
Oh, sorry. Do you still want spoilers? Sorry.
Yeah, leave this on, right? So the whole plot contrivance is that this organization has purposefully killed off all of the men because they want women to rule the world, and they want women to be able to reproduce
oh my god,
amongst themselves, right? Get rid of the men. Just remove the men from the picture. And I'm like, I don't think you've worked out how this works.
Yeah,
I mean, you're still correcting.
I just don't think they have the facilities for that, bruv.
It's like the nightmare that all the anti-feminists parade around. Oh, they just want to put us into breeding camps. Yeah.
And like, yeah, but it's created by the women, which is just honestly like, and the last couple of episodes, the animation just disappears. Right? There are parts where like that you'll hear someone open a door. The door doesn't open. Right? You'll see people talking. They don't even animate the mouths. Right? It's just like there are no mouths. It's just like, oh, just leave off the mouth. And like, honestly, it gets really fucking bad. They are so lining up for a second season. And I'm like, well, if you got rid of some of the shit, honestly, just don't want a second season. It's just like, ugh. Yeah. So
General Kenobi is not impressed.
Hard pass. Just skip it. Get out. Free yourself. Watch something fun. Right. What do you?
It sounds like I'd even recommend Bisco over this, because at least Bisco has fun elements to it.
Are you ready, Thaylien?
Yes, I am, and I did wear the cloak specifically for that episode. That part of the episode. All right. So, I'm going to go on to an acquired taste here with Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout. This is one that Xeno didn't quite get.
Acquired taste button.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah, remember the timer? Not the rating.
Yeah.
Other way around. Don't worry, we'll get it.
We'll get there.
So, Xeno did not get this one. He didn't quite like it. And I can see why. I'll put it as an acquired taste because there is a lot to infer from this. And quite a lot of the time is actually more spent focusing on the one joke of the series. There are several running jokes throughout, with characters that come back and get referenced and, actually have their own single joke that they are for. Like as a princess of the elves is the most beautiful elf in the world, and believes she is in a very, very narcissistic way. And every time she's brought back, it's purely to prove that the guy that's been turned into a fantasy knockout is prettier, or that people find him prettier. But the main joke has always been that the goddess has supposedly cursed these two to fall in love. And, every single time it's brought up, they have to reject it violently. But it keeps happening because, they have fantasy game style statuses like charmed. And so a charmed person will do anything the other says, or will try not to, but will still do them. And, our strong man can be charmed by the girl and goes into a bit of berserk rage. It's the same joke every time. Xeno knows this. It doesn't get funnier, although they do get quite inventive with playing with it. And in the end, all it is events happening around them, and them trying not to fall in love in the middle of it.
Oh dear.
So there are positives to it.
It's like Jahi, but instead of trying to get her thing back, it's trying not to fall in love.
Try not to fall in love.
I think that's too harsh.
It's a bit too harsh. There is a plot to this. There frequent silliness like that on screen. The fact that the fact is that our fantasy knockout is actually the main character, and her gentleman that she brought with her is actually technically classed as her weapon.
Yeah,
interesting.
So
that was something I really liked.
They have the relationship is the further that you are from the gift of the goddess, the weapon that you brought through with you, the less powerful you are. So there is another hero from the Goddess of Night who is a proper head case to start off with. And he gets given a sword that can cut anything. He has no idea how to use it.
Isn't it called Graham?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
It's a sword that can cut anything. It gifted to him by the Goddess of Night. And it gets eaten by a magical armor. And so you get this thing of, as he just becomes even more useless without it. And they play into this. They go, so the latter part of the series has a whole concentration on what happens when these two are apart and how depressed they are. There's some focus on the fact that it's genuinely okay and it is not gay to be open with your emotions with your homies.
Wow, but controversial.
To give this show some credit, right? The world setting is really nice. They really do explore different cultures within the world setting. Not to a massive extent, but at least enough to realize that people function in different ways. And the side characters, they are actually really well developed.
The side characters do grow over the time, which is actually really quite nice to see.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters is this guard that's of a village or a town that they visit, and her nonchalant attitude towards the heroes is quite refreshing in the show. But certainly I do feel that the joke between our two protagonists is done. It's done to death.
Yeah, it is done to death. So I really liked that. So the side characters getting developed is great fun. So the character Xena is referring to, you can see how having somebody rely on her that is actually stronger than her, but relies on her, and watching the strong character actually grow as a person and grow up is actually making her into a better person too. She's getting the warm fuzzies over being a senior and relied on, and actually helping people.
Also, in to give the show credit, the number of times the joke made, I said that the guilt that the main characters experience after their first fuck up is brought up again and again and again, right? Again, it's even by the end of the series, they're reminded yet again that they murdered the guardian of the forest from like episode 1. It's just like, oh dear God, I can't believe we did that. It's nice that was still that was refreshing, because it wasn't every episode, every chance in Jahi that like, oh, I'm gonna get the gems and Daruge has more gems than me, and it was just like, oh, a few episodes time. Oh yeah, shit, we did that again, didn't we? Yeah, so it's nice. It was actually nice.
If you can tolerate the same joke being told again and again, it's actually, a semi-decent isekai anime with some nice little twists, some good characters in there. But it's just the repetitive nature of it for the two main characters. And I really hope they actually do grow if they get a second season. I really hope that if I read the manga, they actually grow as people.
Yeah.
But
I do feel this show would benefit from a binge watch.
Yeah, watch it all at once and see what you think. And if you don't make it through the first 3 episodes, you're completely understandable for not having done that. Okay, if you're not continuing. So, it is an acquired taste.
Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2. So, before I actually give this a rating, there's a couple of important things to say. First off, the final episode of this part isn't even airing until next week, later this week, something like that.
I should have aired by now.
No, because it was delayed.
Yeah, no, it was delayed to today.
Oh, well, poop. Well, okay, I didn't realize that. I didn't watch it before we recorded, but it's also not the end. There's going to be a part 3. There's going to be a final season part 3. Okay.
But wait until we get to the final season version 2, part 1, right?
No.
It's fallen into Adobe After Effects naming conventions. I'm just gonna say it right now.
Right. So I'm gonna actually give this show.
Could be Call of Duty naming ideas.
I'm gonna actually give this show 2 ratings. One, the first rating is if you've watched it, if you have made it this far into the show, then you must watch it just to finish, just to see how it ends, right? Right. But if you haven't started the show at all, despite how I know everyone says season 1 is amazing, and season 1 is honestly pretty great, but if you haven't watched it yet, don't. Stay away. Stay far. Maybe a little controversial. I know a lot of people like Attack on Titan. Stay far away from it.
So if you already like Attack on Titan, you'll continue to like Attack on Titan.
Or if you watch it out of morbid curiosity like I do.
If you haven't got an opinion of it and you haven't got a good grasp of what's going on, and you haven't started, any investment you find from how good the first season is
will be ruined. It will be lost.
Wow.
Gone.
So, for pros and cons, we've got really well choreographed fights. Got to give it to them. They are super well choreographed. Even though I still say the ODS omnidirectional system, the flight system, makes no goddamn sense. Just like Spider-Man's webbing makes no sense half the time.
Wait, how does Spider-Man's webbing not make any sense?
I swear to God, a lot of times he just flings it into the air. He doesn't actually latch onto any buildings or anything. It's just in the air.
Yeah, but he kicks and does a double jump, and then he can do it again. Sorry, keep going. I'll shut up.
Some of the characters actually feel like real people. They actually team up with the bad guys because Aaron's just gone too fucking far, and so they realize.
Could we pause for a hot second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yes. Well, there he is.
Yeah.
And we had a cat emergency. He wanted in.
Yeah.
So they actually learn to team up with their enemies, but it's not just like an immediate, hey, we're gonna work together now. They actually struggle to come together as a team because of all the war that they've had against each other and the racism and everything.
So this is within the
final season,
the Titan Society, yeah.
No. It's the Eldians versus the Marlians, and the Eldians team up with the Marlians. Well, some of them do.
Okay.
The Eldians from Parody, the island, not the
okay,
not the ones that have been
Oh, okay.
Does a good job of showing how insidious propaganda is. Gabby didn't even realize that these were people. She thought of them as devils. Gabby's one of the Marlians.
Gabby. Okay.
But she comes to learn during this whole section where she's with them that these are actual just people. They're just people.
Right.
Does a great job of showing how war is hell. And there's like a whole aftermath where the Jaegerists, which are followers of Eren, and the non-Jaegerists are like, now that Eren's in charge, they gotta kill off all the non-Jaegerists, even though they're all Eldians, right? And there's a section later where they're trying to take a port town, and the band of people that I mentioned earlier who teamed up are trying to take a port town so they can get off the island and get back to the mainland. And they literally have to fight other Eldians that they've been in, that you saw together with them in like boot camp in the first season. So like, these are their friends, and they're having to kill them now.
So, I think I just want to say, like, hey, if you want to get our full point of view on Attack on Titan, go check out the Kanpai Cast episode where we go into the full ins and outs of Attack on Titan with Nick from Two Star Game? No, shit, what was it? 2 Star Players?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm terrible.
Shocking.
Go check out that episode, because we do really break down Attack on Titan. And I get revealed some really heavy shit.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Honestly, the fact that this isn't the end just makes me not want to watch it even more.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it gets really weird. Eren's motivations make no sense. The whole thing with the founding Titan's origins and how they realize her origins, stupid.
The founding Titan, that's the thing that kills it for me.
Yep.
100% like, oh no, I'm not interested at all.
Yep. It's stay far away from Attack on Titan.
Okay, cool. Where are we now?
It's your turn for Genius Prince, I believe.
Oh, okay. Crud, where's the icon?
Although we really should mention the cat purring ASMR that's going on.
Oh, can you hear him? I don't know if they can hear him on stream.
Oh, it's nice.
It's not nice. I can't hear him anymore. But anyway, right. So, the Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. What am I going to give this?
What are you going to give this?
I'm going to say this is a low must watch, right? So
acquired taste.
Yeah, I think this is a bit above acquired taste. Hit the button, and it's nice to see as just a flat-out fantasy series. So many fantasy shows these days are isekais, right? Which is nothing against the isekai genre, but it detracts from the pure fantasy genre. You can't have realistically a pure fantasy and an isekai, because the main character knows things that realistically in a fantasy setting you shouldn't know.
Right.
The show deals with a lot of political intrigue and things, a lot of Yeah, I mean, like fantasy-based politics between nations. You've got an empire that I'm pretty sure Loz would be able to confirm this, that are like purely atheist, versus an entire region of kingdoms that follow religion to the letter, to the point of they actually have there's a I can't remember what they're called, but there's like oh god, a race of humans that have the red eyes and the white hair, and the religion sees them as devils, and across their entire kingdoms they have been made extinct, right? They only exist in the empire and this small kingdom that has thus far remained neutral and atheist. So, you know, the political intrigue is really interesting, especially with the tactics that are involved in how they try to get out of conflict with the least amount of casualties, right? So, there's at one point in time, the religious kingdoms are trying to take over a major city in the atheist empire, while there is some infighting within the empire. And what they end up doing to prevent it... Actually, sorry, I should hit the spoilers. Can we hit the spoilers? Give you guys the opportunity to go, no, I don't want to hear this. So what they end up doing is the prince has his little sister march the entire population of this city to the atheist army that sat on the border waiting to invade, and ask for asylum. And basically, all of a sudden, the army now has a problem within where they've taken in all these refugees, and they have to, they can't now suddenly invade the city. And it's just like, oh, shit. And this has taken the attention of the infighting armies, and they're like, hold on, why have all of our people gone over there now? Oh, there's an army over there. We should keep an eye on that. So it's really, really good.
I see a gazebo.
The gazebo's fine. Okay. It's a good gazebo. Oh. It's a happy gazebo.
Oh.
It's for having tea and talking, not having long debates and
meetings
and consistent off-screen dialogue.
Yeah, chin wags. There you go. But it's a great series, and also I love the element of this that not everything goes to plan, right? So we described it in the 6th episode, follow up, where basically this stupid prince, I can't remember what his title was, but basically he ends up killing himself by accident. And, you know, our main protagonist has to work out a way to keep everyone happy while this political shitstorm is about to kick off. So fantastic. It's honestly, it's a really good show. It's, I do recommend, but it might not be for everyone. So there we go. That's it for me. Where are we with Thaylien?
Thaylien is down to FreakAngels.
Yes, which I still like to bring up because it is something that came from my past. I really love the overall aesthetic of this show.
What are you rating?
Well, I'm going to put this in another acquired taste because it is very British.
Extremely British.
The characters are unmotivated. Not that they have no motivation, that they are unmotivated to follow through on it. You know, they are fairly easily depressed characters, in a situation that is, fairly depressing, and they are all suffering the consequences of a disaster that was caused by them.
Right.
So, again, I don't want to get into spoilers of this. I'm really happy with the way they took this from the comics. The comics had, which I can spoil because this isn't anything like them in terms of the ending. The comics went through a whole thing of discovering, these people and their powers and what they wanted to do next. And what they ended up doing in there was simply saying, well, the world's not ready for us. Let's set ourselves apart until it is. However, in the anime here, they take a different route, and it works out quite nicely with the way they set up the plot. I have to say, it's actually a massive improvement over the sections that they were over what they actually had in the first place. So, all in all, great adaptation, and the aesthetic, the world setting they go into, brilliantly done. There's it's a dystopian future, but it's not in the future. The 12 characters were all born with special powers, and they're all shown by their purple eyes, which can glow when they use their powers. They can create shields, they can create psychic forces like telekinesis, they can communicate telepathically, they can even communicate telepathically with each other while pausing time, which they call a static line. Everything else is paused around them, but they can, and even they are paused, but they can still talk. So it actually works out, for making decisions very well. But they're still kids trying to grow up. So they've, in this post-apocalyptic world, they're trying to create things like, gardens, clean water, electricity, and try and get back some of the conveniences they actually had in the world before. Outside of their little area of England, where they are, there's people fighting for survival, starving, killing each other for food. Everything could be going on. And our story is told mostly through the perspective of a young girl that is actually sent to kill them.
Oh, really?
She's basically wound up like a little drone and sent off with a shotgun to kill them. And the story is told from her perspective of being unwound from being a drone and getting to experience the world these guys are trying to create. So, honestly, I love the way they're actually telling the story. The whole visuals thing here. KK there, flying a steampunk helicopter that she made herself. But all set off with this very British kind of way of approaching things. So they get drunk off of wine that's made basically by fermenting old tea bags instead of grapes, because they can't grow grapes.
Oh, wow.
But tea bags, England has those in plenty. It's
like making prison wine out of grapes and in the toilet.
And indeed, and they're having to make do in this post-apocalyptic world. But then, of course, you find out that they caused it. So all of the motives that you can see, all the different arguments they have, all the childish bickering they get into with each other, suddenly makes sense when they realise that they're just avoiding the fact they're all actually at fault for this. So I recommend it, but it's an acquired taste because a lot of people won't get the humour or the characters. They won't seem. There's not really main characters in it.
Interesting.
There's 12 of them.
Would you say it's an ensemble cast?
Yes.
Okay.
And, and they don't really get the time to properly explore most of them. But there's definitely a lot of character there, but it's all very British, so it's all very under the hood with their actual characters. But
Right.
worth a watch, but an acquired taste.
I'm gonna give this a go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find time.
I assume it's not foreign language. It's English.
No, it's definitely English. It's British as all heck.
Excellent.
And so it's automatically English dub, as it were.
That makes it so much easier to access in a lot of ways.
Only 9 episodes.
Oh wow.
Well, the original was only 3 comics,
Right.
which I actually have on a bookshelf over there.
So there's no sequel baiting or anything. It's just a single contained story.
There is sequel baiting, but in the same way that the comics had sequel baiting.
Okay. All right.
So the comics had them move on to when the world was ready. They hinted there's a much larger story out there, but they never continued.
Oh,
Whereas
that's a shame.
This one, there actually looks like there could be a possibility of continuing. So,
Ooh. Right. Shall we
That's
move on
when they
to?
do it well.
Yeah, that's always the concern.
No.
Miss Kuroitsu from Monster Development. Xeno would kill me if I did not give this a must-watch. Luckily for him, this show is amazing and is a must-watch.
So good. It's so fucking good.
yeah, I definitely agree.
So you tried to tell me that Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. You tried to say I should like that because I liked Konosuba. I disagree. I think this one is way more like Konosuba in the way that it takes the piss out of like just the world of tokusatsu. It is so good. But
I give you that, but the character development in this is nowhere near as well defined as Konosuba and
That's fair.
Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
That's
right?
fair.
But the
as
world
a comedy
is definitely it's so good. It's so fun. If you have any experience with programming, be it at amateur level, a novice level, or anything else, you will get some of this stuff, right? The last episode fucking had me in stitches, right? Do you
remember the bar with the retired villains and heroes?
Yes.
Oh my god, there were so many references in there. I know it. I know there was at least one.
Yeah.
But
So honestly, it's a really, really it's just a really interesting take.
I wouldn't even really call it slice of life too either, because even though there's the beach episode, there's not it barely feels like a beach episode.
It's not that. It's the office life. That's the slice of life.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's I mean, a lot of slice of life shows, they have what it takes to maintain a home, going out buying groceries. They don't look at, maybe it's a slice of work.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Slice of work.
I'll go with that. Slice of work anime.
Office comedy. It's an office comedy.
It is.
Yeah. It's So continue, Nasuth.
I mean, you already pretty much covered all of it. It reminded me of Konosuba, or there's this old 90s sitcom called News Radio that's also really, really good. The Wolfie continues to be best boy / girl. Poor Wolfie boy. Megas continues to be best waifu. The other was the beach episode that didn't feel like a beach episode. There was the Rita Repulsa, at least in the the only con I had was that the punchlines are sometimes kind of obvious. Well, a lot of times kind of obvious, but that's fine. That's fine.
Like when?
I didn't write down any specific examples, I don't think. I can try to look in my detailed notes.
I suppose, the fact that in one episode they get accosted by a Sentai group, and it's come on, the monsters were going to win. You're doing the top brass monsters here. You're going to lose to them. That was an obvious way it was going to go.
Yeah. I think some of the stuff with Wolfie Boy as well.
The mech fight was not obvious.
Yeah. Some of the stuff with Wolfie Boy I think was a little obvious, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Sort of like I said in my final verdict, it's fluff, but it's not bad fluff. It's fluff you can really still just. It's so fun. It's just so fucking funny. It's just so funny.
Can we hit the spoilers tag? Can we hit the spoilers tag? Like it's super quick, right? So I just want to talk about the last fight in the end, right? It is so basically there's a big organization that is trying to make its way into Japan, and they're trying to buy out the organization that is our group. However, the organization doesn't have time to respond to the offer of a buyout. Instead, it's a hostile takeover. Emphasis on the hostile. They actually send in masses of robots that are piloted by monsters that have been brainwashed. And the best part of all is that they develop a weapon that is the polar opposite of the Tokusatsu character that they have been trying to defeat themselves.
Oh my god, yes.
And what you got? They can't take the suit off because they rushed it to fight this invading corporation. They can't take the suit off. And like, oh my god, the spaghetti code is real. It's like, this is what happens when you rush development. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so true. It's so fucking funny. Oh my god, it was brilliant. And basically, the person wearing it is trapped inside. They can't get out. It's so good. Honestly, it's a must. I fucking love it. It's so funny.
When you get me on a comedy, because my comedic tastes are very like weird. So if you get me on a comedy, it's usually it's good. It's got to be good.
Yeah. Oh. Like you can take off the spoilers.
Oh yes, right.
But I did feel like in the early episodes of Konosuba, like the first 6 episodes, it's quite slow. It's only the second 6 that it really defines itself as the comedy that it is.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah.
And this one's right from the start, though. I mean, just right from the start.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like they repeat any of the jokes either. That was one of the big complaints about Jahi, especially, was that it was the same joke. I don't feel like this is the same joke at all. Maybe a little bit with Wolfie Boy.
Yeah, there's lots of different variations.
There's running gags, but there's no... Yeah.
Right. I need a quick pause.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. So, Nasuth hits the button.
I do hit the button.
And we're going to talk about Police of the Pod. Must watch.
I agree. Must watch.
So... There is a certain type of show out there that goes the extra mile to make the show as authentic as possible. I mean, it doesn't have to be a show; it could be like a comic as well and things like this. When you have that level of authenticity, when you have a senior telling a junior, "Don't do this," or even a junior telling a senior, "Don't do this." Because of that. So, for example, a real life example, I always tell my line manager, my boss, please do not hard reset the servers, because if you do, the log files for that service that's corrupted or crashed or whatever are lost, right? So I'll have no idea why the server crashed. You need to go into the server and, properly stop the service, so that way I can look at the log files afterwards. And that sort of level of detail is throughout Police in a Pod, right? You should look after yourself, otherwise You're not going to be able to chase down a criminal. You have to take into consideration the emotions of the victim. You have to monitor the criminal's attitude during an interrogation, how well they respond to things. One episode is about a police officer who lost their ID, or was it half an episode? Something like that. And it was really, really nice. Now, one thing I'm going to put a huge caveat, a huge warning, right? The last 3 episodes touch on the subject of sexual assault, right? It is a very heavy topic, but you can see like the serious attitude of, I would swear these are real police officers, right? And I do know that the author was a police officer for, I think, 10 years before they actually wrote Police in a Pod. So it's so they really, like, they take this shit seriously. They go to the nth degree, and they really detail out the whole thing. How much, like, stakeouts suck in things like this. How much it's important to understand your partner as much as yourself. So if your partner's unreliable and will likely pass out, then you let them go to sleep first and shit like this. It's honestly such a good series.
I do have one question. You know, where they have the seniors telling the juniors not to do something because of X. I didn't notice any, but did you spot any where the seniors say, well, because I'm a senior, I can get away with taking this particular shortcut in my paperwork or something like that, but you mustn't do that?
No, I never saw anything like that.
No?
I did see that. Oh, actually, no, correction. There was a senior that was being particularly rude to the junior, as if, like, you don't know shit, you don't know what you're doing, you do what I tell you, so on and so forth, which is common in everyday life.
Yes.
But when that senior got put in their place, they it wasn't massively in the face of the senior. Why did you let us down? Why did you everyone came together as a team, right? Which you would hope happened in a police force. But again, it's like an office environment. I've worked in places where if someone fucks up, the head of the office just comes in, pulls everyone from that team, and then starts shouting at them to make everyone feel awful. But when it comes down to it, like, what have you succeeded in doing? Making people want to leave.
I was more getting at the fact that I'm currently training an apprentice in my job.
Yeah.
And because I know the material, if I'm in a rush, there are certain corners I can cut. I know for a fact how something's going to work, so I don't have to follow every single step of the chain.
Yeah.
And so if there's a chance that my apprentice is watching me do it, I make sure to say, I'm doing this because I specifically know the answer.
Yeah.
You go through every step, boy.
Yeah.
So I don't see them do that in Police in a Pod, but I personally have the same thing. So I've got a junior that I'm training up, and now that they've had enough experience with building a server from scratch, I'm going to let them use the automation way now, right? Because if the automation breaks, if the conveyor belt building the car breaks down, the car still needs to be made, right?
Exactly.
So it's a brilliant show. I know what you're talking about. I don't think there's any examples of that in...
I didn't spot any, but I just thought, you might have on your way through.
Brilliant show. People should check it out. So cool.
But
Next
speaking
one.
of brilliant shows with must-watch value, it's my must-watch of the season is My Dress Up Darling. So this one, what can we say about it that we haven't already said? Okay, this is a story of a good boy and a good girl, and you want good things to happen to them because they're good people. And there's a whole lesson that's quite honestly taught at the start of this series where taking the negative route to something, making fun of something that somebody else loves, is not the way to go about things. Good things happen when you appreciate what other people love and they appreciate what you love. In this case, those good things happen to be that you get yourself a cute girlfriend. Well, not girlfriend yet, but
in this case, the good thing is boobs.
Yes. In this case, suddenly, no surprise, I'm wearing a bikini. Okay. Love the two main characters in this. They are honest. They are almost entirely straightforward, apart from Marin's occasional keyboard smash of a reaction to things. And the supporting characters are brilliant. You can see their own issues and hang-ups with the world, and how being with friends that actually understand them and are positive about their hobbies can bring out the best in them. How even the shyest among them can step up and actually say they want to do something, where they normally wouldn't, because it might get in the way, or they might not know how other people react. Actually giving people the courage to step up and take a shot at something, even if they might not do so well. And luckily for this lot, it turns out very well. There's a lot of fun to be had, a lot of good times, a lot of good vibes, and the characters just end up in such a good place in their lives, where before they were alone, before they were, or who felt alone even when they were in a crowd. Now they have friends, they have shared interests, and they have so much more they can do with their lives. And that is honestly the kind of slice of life that I want to see out of a slice of life anime. I don't want drama, I don't want romantic tension from love triangles. No need. Just have good things happening to good people when they, as a result of doing good things. And I want to see more.
Interesting.
I really want a second season.
Yeah, if you want a second season, definitely.
I definitely want a second season. I love the playful nature of the characters. It makes them feel a lot more alive. I like the fact that even though the characters don't grow a massive amount, their relationship does.
Exactly.
I kind of dislike the I think obtuse is the right word. Basically, the unobservant nature of the pair of them. But I gotta be honest. I feel like I was that when I was.
I wouldn't say it's unobservant. I think it's that same teenage thing of you want to think something, but you just don't know. And you are so unwilling to take the risk because the risk of humiliation or losing a good thing is so high at that stage, or it's such an important thing to you. So they're not really unobservant. They're very aware of each other and what could happen. But
I think the problem is that it goes along the trope that boy meets girl, right? It's very much a case of it's on the emphasis of the man to do the initiation, right? And
in a sense,
if Gojo actually picked up more on Marin's feelings, which are pronounced really early on,
yes,
then I think Gojo would actually make a move. But because, and likewise, if Marin actually picked up on Gojo's feelings, because it seems that she could only look at him when he's not beet red and, having a malfunction in the pants region.
Yes, when he's that's the thing, when they are very aware of the fact that they are teenage and getting, that side of their lives started. So there's always that confusion. It's something I remember distinctly from my own teenage phase, in the very few dabblings I had back then, Because I'm not exactly the most popular guy. Who would have thought from a nerd who talks about anime on the internet? So it was that thing of, is this actually a relationship, or are we all just horny? And that's a real consideration. That is actually a real consideration if you actually are aware of it. And it's something that obviously Gojo is aware of. He's not. I'm guessing that he's not sure that what he feels isn't just physical attraction. He really wants to spend more time with her, but there's also that, again, that step of obliviousness that isn't quite, is actually quite blameless. That he still considers Marin out of his league. She's still the popular girl, and if he thought for a moment that he was on the same level as her, then he might consider that everything she's doing is building up to wanting to date him.
Yeah.
And that everything she's doing is trying to date him. And so it would take, I don't know, I haven't read the manga, but if it turned out that she just turned around and says, hey, no, so do you want to go on an actual date?
Yeah.
A, his head would melt. B, it would be adorable for both of them, with keyboard smashes abounding from both sides.
I do intend to read the manga for this, and I know Loz has read the manga, and he says that the anime is actually really faithful to the manga. I hope that it does get... I think he said that there is enough for at least a second season, maybe even a third, but I just hope that if it does get a sequel season, it's done right.
Yes.
Yeah. Unlike, because Cloverworks did this. Cloverworks also did the second season for... Promised Neverland, and Promised Neverland season 2 was so bad. Anyway,
as long as they just keep to what the manga does, then we should be great.
Yeah,
I think we have one more anime, don't we?
Last thing I will say, I think regardless of the subject matter, it's the charm and the charisma this show has that really drives it home.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Nasuth.
Right. So my next two they technically haven't finished. I didn't realize that when I watched the last episode, when I wrote my notes for Rose King, which is what I'm going to do next. Requiem of the Rose King.
Oh.
And I'm also going to say that even though it's only halfway done, apparently there's going to be another 12 episodes. I feel like you could stop here, and if you did, it would be an acquired taste. Because it is really weird, and I'll get into that. But if you really like, that sort of boy love shoujo anime, you'll have no problem watching this, I don't think. It's actually, honestly, I didn't go back and read Henry VI or Richard III, but and I didn't watch any adaptations of them either. But I read a synopsis on Wikipedia, and it's honestly, aside from a couple of really big noticeable additions, it's actually pretty faithful to King Henry VI Part 3. And those noticeable differences, as I've talked about before, is Richard is intersex, which is, instead of being a hunchback, well, yeah, whatever. And the entirety of the romance between Richard and Henry, which would have obviously never happened. But otherwise, it's pretty good. I don't really have a whole. Yeah.
I just have to ask. So this is actually authentic to the English stories, not the fact that guy looks like
history.
It's the Shakespearean plays.
Setting up. I was going to say not setting up to go and kill off the rest of the Uchiha.
I don't know what.
Sorry, that looked so much like a Naruto character for a moment there. That's
right. So I assume the second half is going to be more about Richard III, which is the other play. They put a little bit of that into this one, but it was mostly Henry VI. Gets the timeline events pretty well. It really tries to be a Shakespearean tragedy in as much as, by the end, everyone is either dead or, mentally scarred in some way, or, all that, or insane, just utterly insane. Cons, it is extremely trope heavy. I mean, extremely trope heavy. I am not kidding when I say it is a boy love shoujo anime.
Right.
If you know the tropes of that, you will know what's going to happen in this. There's the tortured protagonist and, all that. I think I talked about a lot of this in the 6th episode follow-up, so... you can easily watch it at 1.5 speed because of how little actually happens between meaningful stares and lewd hand-holding and stuff. That's honestly about it. It's really interesting to see how the Japanese take on a history of England. It's really funny hearing the Japanese pronunciation of English names that continues to be humorous right up to the end. And I don't regret the time I spent watching it, even though I'll probably watch the rest of the last 12 episodes because I have to. But I wouldn't really, if there had been a longer break, I probably wouldn't have continued. I would have just said, season 2, that's cool. Don't really care.
Fair.
Do you want me to talk about the other one that I had real quick too, or?
Yeah, smash it out.
Right, so that is the Missing Eight. Yes. Where did I skip that? I did skip that.
So we're not talking about it?
No, he means in his order of...
Oh, I think it's under M. Oh, I'm dumb.
There it is.
No, there it is. Yeah,
there you go.
Right, so I'll try to squeeze this in just real fast. This is I can't really give it a rating. If it was a 3 episode follow-up, because this is only the 3rd episode, they're coming out really, really slow. It would be nothing special, honestly, even though it's really, really cute sci-fi. The animation is still really weird. It's very stop-motion-y, sort of like almost live comic book. We're getting some more information about the androids and their abilities and their history, but not a huge amount yet. It's okay. It's if you're looking for some sci-fi, some really experimental sci-fi, give it a try, but it's really nothing special. I don't think so.
Fair. Right, okay then, and we're going to move on to my last one. If I can quickly find it. There it is. Right. So my last one is Ranking of Kings. Right. This is this was from last season. It was a 23 episode series, which is why it's led into this one, and it's only recently finished. This is a must watch.
Oh my.
Right. I do not care what your tastes are in anything. Ranking of Kings.
Well, how is that different from any of the other decisions, Xeno?
Yeah.
No. No matter what, you're gonna like this one. I like.
Okay.
You would have to be dead inside not to like Ranking of Kings. Yeah. So it's.
Prove you wrong, Rising.
Well, I mean, it just means if you don't like it, you're dead inside, right? But the whole premise of people with disabilities still being able to achieve the same results, if not better, is such an important note within the storytelling of this series. You need to binge watch this. This is not really a series that you can watch week by week. Well, I mean, it's all out now, so I mean, you can binge watch it. It is completed. I cannot envision this getting a second season. The relationships between all the characters, it's such a good series. You think people, for example, this is the Queen, Thaylien. At the start, you think she's a massive bitch, where it then turns out she's not in the slightest. It's just that she's got a stick so far up her ass that she comes across as a bitch, but she's actually
Really? Hoping you're not talking literally.
No, I'm not talking literally. Stop it.
Good point.
Right?
Sorry, couldn't resist.
It turns out that she actually loves Opted's son just as much as she loves her real son, right? Her birth son. I don't know how you say this, but initially you're watching it and it's just like, man, she's such a bitch. She's fucking Cersei Lannister. She's not. And it's brilliant watching these characters, like, who have these internal conflicts, who love each other so much that they would do anything for them, just go that extra mile. And it's such a good series. It's fantastic. I don't want to spoil anything. I really feel everyone should just go out and watch it. Characters that are genuine assholes, they redeem themselves. Everyone loves Boji. I did a meme, was it last week, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is like, this is Boji. If anything happens to him,
yes,
I will kill everyone in this room.
I've known him for 22 seconds. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And it's honestly, like, he is such an amazing character. He's such a good boy.
I really like the art style too.
The art style is incredible. It's honestly, it's just such a good damn show. People really should, like, this is easily contender for anime of the year.
Wow,
right?
Bold words.
And it ends on such a good note, right? It's like, I'm not really into this. Like, this is very European fantasy, right? Everything that they do is extremely European in its fantasy setting. Like, this takes so much. This has so much similarity in shows like Game of Thrones, right? And it's so strange to see this come out of Japan, but it is so goddamn good. Like, there's like, you wouldn't be able to tell that this was Japanese in origin, right? Honestly, it's fucking fantastic. People should check it out. It's similar to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right?
Really?
Okay.
There's so little cultural impact from Japan in this show, right?
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
I get you now.
Other shows are like, you still see people bowing and things like this. Like, we don't do that in the UK, right? We don't bow to each other. We shake hands, right? But there's very little cultural representation of Japan in this show. It's so goddamn good. Seriously, you need to check it out. Any questions?
No?
Well, I'm going to go check this out for over the next week, I think.
Yeah.
Because you have convinced me. But
yeah,
I still hesitate because of the way it was advertised. Just didn't quite make me think that I'd like it.
Like what?
Well, it seemed like the animation just, for some reason, in the bits I saw, looked a bit too Steven Universe.
It has a very...
Yeah.
It does have a very strong Steven Universe vibe with the shade.
I'm not saying I didn't like Steven Universe. I'm just saying that after watching through all of that, I just thought I wasn't quite.
But this is like if Steven Universe was done well.
Okay.
Shots fired, I know, but yes.
That's too harsh to say, Nasuth. But the animation style of this, it makes it its own, right? It does such a good job, right? And maybe it is trying to target that younger audience, but you will very quickly learn to look past.
Fair enough. All right, I think we're actually done. All of our little summaries are all done of the shows we've actually watched for this winter season. So all we have next to do is to look forward to the following season.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've got several ones that we're all gonna watch.
Do you wanna hit the button?
What button? Oh.
No. Bring up the screen.
Yes. Good point.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, how am I gonna do this?
So, what we have here...
No, you don't need to scroll through it. You don't just have it up.
All right.
The whole listing for the coming season on AniChart, which is quite reliable for giving us just a little synopsis and rundown of what's coming up in the following season.
Yeah.
So we've all gone through and had a pick out and see exactly what we are actually excited for, what we might give a try, and what we'll try and present to you guys on the 3-episode rule later on this year.
Yeah. So out of interest, Thaylien, do you know how many shows you picked out from this upcoming season?
8 or 10 that I was interested in, but I'm probably not going to get to that many.
Cool. Right. I know I picked 9. Nasuth, how many did you picked.
Okay, in my defense, last season I also started out with a really high number and dropped a lot by the end. I was down to like, what, 5 or 6?
Look how well that turned out for you. Maybe you should try, narrowing the field just a little bit,
But I want to try I want to cast my net wide and watch 15 shows.
No, all right. Your call, man.
Right, so to go through, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through the list of all the shows we're going to watch, right? That have caught our interest, but we're only going to talk about 2 each because otherwise we'll be here all fucking day.
Yeah.
Right. So we're only going to talk about 2 each, but we're going to give you the full gamut of what we're going to look at. So we all commonly have an interest in Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2, Kobe Can't Communicate Part 2, Spy Family. I'm not pronouncing the X. I couldn't give a fuck. I'm Quitting Heroing. Then Nasuth and Thaylien have an interest in Don't Hurt Me, My Healer. Nasuth and Xeno have an interest in Skeleton Knight I thought it was From Another World.
No, In Another World.
In Another World.
Okay, fine. Skeleton Knight in Another World. And then Xeno and Thaylien have an interest in, oh god, Aharen-san wa Hakare... Fuck, if you would...
Purple burglar alarm.
Aharen-san wa Hakare Renai.
Hey, excellent.
Hey.
Right. Okay.
Small
It's weird. It's when I'm on the spot, I can't read it for shit, right? But yeah, okay. And then Nasuth is going to just for Nasuth, it has particular interest in Bubble,
which is apparently a movie, but I may not do that.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. So,
okay.
Summertime Rendering?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Spriggan. Sachiku.
Which I think's a remake of the old one, isn't
Yes,
it?
I think so. It was also apparently one a couple years ago. I'm not sure if it's related. I'll have to check into that before I actually...
Sachiku-san no Yojo Yurei no... I can't...
Sachiku-san wa Yojo Yurei ni Yasaratai.
Very good.
What? I don't know what that one is. Stab Life, Great Escape, Vampire in the Garden, Tomodachi, game, The Executioner and Her Way of Life, and then Kyokai Senki Season 1 Part 2.
Yep.
Xeno's interested in Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, Data Life Season 4, Love After World Domination, and Thaylien is Blackrock Shooter, Dawnfall, and RPG Real Estate. I need a drink because my throat has gone really dry. So I shall let Nasuth talk about his two.
So Stab Life and Tomodachi Game are the ones I am interested. Man, I really wish this had a Control F.
Do you want me to do mine first while you find it?
No, here we go. So A Stab Life is set in a distant future world where the population has begun to shrink after reaching its peak. The supernatural renovation project splits Tokyo with towering walls into several cluster neighborhoods, each with its own unique genetically modified populations governed by artificial intelligence. Most people live their lives in their own unique clusters, blissfully unconcerned with life beyond. However, there are some who seek to escape to the other clusters. An outfit helps those who wish to escape. So it's kind of like dystopian future sci-fi, all the things all the hallmarks that I generally look for. And then Tomodachi, I'm expecting that to be a banger, by the way. I hope so. And Tomodachi Game, high school student Karagiri Yuichi, who values friendship above all else, enjoys a fulfilling life with his close friends Sawagiri Shiho, Mikasa Tenji, Shime Makoto, and Yokorogi Yutori. Kokorogi.
Yeah.
Kokorogi. However, after a particular incident, they're dragged into a debt repayment game. The only way to beat the Tomodachi Game is to not doubt their friends. Bound together by solid friendship, the game should have been easy, but... And it's apparently based on a comic. Sold over 2 million copies. Yeah. So it's gonna be like kind of like a Squid Game or whatever.
There was another anime, I can't remember the name of it. It also had a live action adaptation where basically it was a school that was run on gambling. I cannot remember the name of this whatsoever. I did watch it, but it was like, man, this girl is enjoying this a little too much for my liking. But anyway, Thaylien, do you want to go for yours first? Next?
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, my picks are the ones, obviously, Komi-san, Season 2, Part 2, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
We absolutely love Komi-san. It's a great feel-good anime, and it's really glad he got a second season. So far, the anime adaptation of the manga has been fantastically faithful. Love the style, love the improvement over time for the characters, and we just want to see more of them. We want to see it happen. We want to see these people's lives unfold, and I think because we can actually relate to quite a bit of some of the problems that they go through. So
I find it interesting that the actress or the voice actress that plays Komi is apparently a loudmouth in other animes. So that's like a really interesting change for her.
Yeah,
she does it. She pulls it off really well.
So the English voice actress plays Snow in Combatants Will Be Dispatched.
Oh,
right, the really loudmouth, very Aqua-like character. So, and it's just like, what? Yeah, such a stark contrast between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your other one?
And so the other one is I'm Quitting Heroing, which is basically the oh, how should I put it? It's the reverse hero's journey that we've all wanted. We've always seen the hero come up and grow through the things, beat the demon lord, but we've not really seen a lot of times what happens after. And in this one, he obviously finds that the world doesn't need him anymore. He's too powerful. He's beaten the demon lord, and his skills are completely unnecessary in a peaceful world. So, in kind of like to spite all the people who now threw him out, he goes to find the demons and see if he can, join their side. Basically, see if he can make something of their little culture that he destroyed, and even ask the demon lords themselves, what's actually, or what have I actually just done? What's, is there something that can be done to improve these things, improve situations for you? So, all my friends don't like me anymore. I'm going to go join my enemies, and I just think that's something we've actually been waiting for out of these.
Yeah,
I hope it's not just a comedy. I hope they actually explore like you were our enemy. We should hate you.
Yeah, but
really
at the same time, it does
that.
Need comedic elements.
Oh, sure,
needs comedic elements, of course. But the real thing is how you deal with the rejection of other people around you, and the recovery from, especially recovery from situations that are very, very dangerous, which a lot of people in the world actually do struggle with what to do next after they've accomplished something big. So, or being in a situation that keeps a lot full of stress on them. So, I really do hope they explore. On to Xenos.
Cool. So my first one is Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. I am a little sad that it's only getting 13 episodes. However, my hope is that those 13 the last one got like 26 episodes. It was like a full 2-season length, right? So I'm really hoping that the 13 episodes we do get have a good, concise story. Like none of the whole Vanitas Part 2 with wishy-washy crap. There is a lot of risk behind Season 2s, I feel, with again.
It's hard to live up to Season 1.
Well, it's not just that, but it's like shortcuts get taken and things like that. Like One Punch Man Season 2, granted done by a different studio, but it was just like nowhere near up to snuff of the first season. Then we've got Demon Slayer Mugen Train, the Mugen Train arc, which was not a patch on the movie, and it felt like they were really cutting corners. They were repeating content a lot just to lengthen the duration of the show, right? I would have much rather they just go, oh, if you want to watch that arc, you have to watch the movie. Go watch the movie, right? You know, it's been out for long enough, go watch the Sonic movie, and then come watch the Entertainment District arc, which I felt was a little rushed in places. So a season 2 is very risky and things, but it's really nice to see that Rising of the Shield Hero season 2 is actually number 1 most popular, right? People are really looking forward to that out of everything else, right? Even Love is War, even there are other season 2s in this as well, which, you know, so even Comey, right? Again, Comey was freaking. So again, I really have high hopes for Rising the Shield Hero. The other one that I want to talk about is Spy Family, which I have the description in front of me right now. So I'm just going to read this out. Everyone has a part of themselves they cannot show to anyone else. At a time when all nations of the world were involved in a fierce war of information happening behind closed doors, Ostania and Westalis had been in a state of Cold War against one another for decades. The Westalis Intelligence Service Eastern Focus Division, WISE, sends their most talented spy, Twilight, on a top secret mission to investigate the movements of Donovan Desmond, the chairman of Ostian's National Unity Party, who is threatening peace efforts between the two nations. This mission is
peace
known
declared.
This
All
mission
your waifus
is
are
known
belong to us.
This mission is known as Operation Strix. It consists of putting together a family in 1 week in order to infiltrate social gatherings organized by the elite school that Desmond's son attends. Twilight takes on the identity of a psychiatrist, Lloyd Forger, and starts looking for family members. But Anya, the daughter he adopts, turns out to have the ability to read people's minds, while his wife, Yor, is an assassin. With it being in each other's own interest to keep the facts hidden, they start living together while concealing their true identities from one another. World peace is now in the hands of a brand new family as they embark on an adventure full of surprises. So I actually started reading the manga for this after Loz's recommendation. I do read it, and I really hope that the anime follows through. Like the relationships, the character exposition is fucking brilliant. It is so funny, especially the getting into the academy, right? Where Desmond's son is. Getting into the academy is like one of the funniest fucking things ever. I really have high hopes for this. I know Loz does. So, yeah, fingers crossed. I don't know how many episodes it's getting real quick. Scroll down. I don't think... Oh my god, it's actually Cloverworks again.
Wow.
Cloverworks.
Wow.
It's Cloverworks.
It's all Cloverworks and Mappa these days.
Yeah, Cloverworks and Wit Studio. Yeah, there's no length
drama.
on this. So yeah,
and comedy.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So it hopes. Right. Okay. So that's it.
That's it.
We've covered the topic.
We've done it all.
It's time to do the supporter questions.
Indeed.
Cool. So, before I read out... Sorry, Zrugel says, before I read out Zrugel's question, I just want to ask our lovely audience to smash that like button and leave a comment down below. I promise we read each and every comment, especially when they don't agree with me. Do you prefer vampires or werewolves? I would think it'd be werewolves, so you can tell people to like and subscribe.
Oh. It's an old joke, but a good one.
Right. Okay. On an actual preferential thing, I actually like vampires versus werewolves. Like, I actually quite like the Underworld movie franchise. I mean, some people think it's actually trash. I actually find it better than a lot of vampire movies. I like the first one and the third one.
Yeah, I don't think I watched the third one. The second one was too trashy.
The second one was alright. Better than the fourth one.
I don't know that I could pick, honestly. There's such good examples of both of them. As long as they don't sparkle, I guess I'm pretty much down for, whatever.
Thaylien?
Well, I think I would have to say that my personal thing is vampires. I prefer vampires over werewolves, but only because you get the impression that with vampires, they're as likely to ignore you, laugh at you, or screw you as they are to kill you.
Oh god!
The proper ones. You want the ones that sit there with their glass of wine and ask, "What is a man?" With a miserable pile of regrets, and throw the glass at them, and then you have to whip them to death. Which you could take that either way.
I'm not going to lie. This went to a dark place. I think you may need to seek some therapy there. Right. So moving on, Thaylien says, in defense of my following supporter, I have to ensure revenge. I, Xenogelion, under protest and forced by the puppeteer of a supporter question, admit I'm not reading that out loud.
Oh,
go fuck
yes,
yourself.
You are. Yes, you
I
are.
am not.
Yes, you are.
He paid for it.
Fuck. I, Xenogelion, under protest and forced by the puppeteer of a supporter question, admit that Spirited Away is an objectively good movie. And only my subjective view made by me saying such hilarious, incorrect things about it.
Oh no, we lost all that audio. Where did it go?
Fuck you. Right. So Thaylien also says, when browsing a list of anime coming up in the next season, which surprised you the least? That another Yu-Gi-Oh series is in the works, or that Kingdom is still going? Kingdom. I gotta be honest, Kingdom surprised me the least. Right,
wow.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay, should we go to the comments of last week?
So this is why Thaylien had to defend Zrugel, because Zrugel says, "Excuse me? Spirited Away is an amazing movie, sir. I mean, if you didn't enjoy it, okay, it's not okay. But to say that it's terrible, I think that's more like calling yourself out."
Honestly, I don't. It's shit. It is fucking shit. Right? It only, why did it even get a fucking Oscar? No one fucking knows. Oh, well, we're down on animation stuff. Let's pull something from fucking Japan. It never even got aired in the UK. It was stupid. No cinemas actually showed Spirited Away. And then all of a sudden, an Oscar. What the fucking bullshit is this?
An angry Xeno is an amazing Xeno. Zrugel also says, "I know why I know why I didn't watch Pat." Oh, right. I know why I didn't watch Pat Labor, because it's not actually on Funimation, and I did this because it's important to point out some things.
Do we want to quickly check that? So if I hit that and then I scroll down, and then go to Pat Labor, does it still say Funimation on it?
It does.
It still says. Okay, I'm gonna have to check the system because it should. I double checked it and it's not on there, so I'll have to check to see why it's saying that.
I think it also depends on where it's drawn from, doesn't it? The UK versus US.
Yes.
From the UK one, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah.
Right. I don't know where Zrugel watches his stuff.
We'll double check. We'll find out why the system is not working properly. Cool. So moving on to the memes.
Onto the memes.
I really hope we don't have.
This is the true Elden Ring experience.
Who the fuck? Where's that from?
I have no idea what this is from, but fuck me, it's perfect.
It is fucking brilliant. That's brilliant, awesome. Okay, next.
Number 2, Spy Family. This looks so good, but I want more of this. Oh, yes.
Do you know what the second one is?
Spy vs. Spy.
Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
A Spy vs. Spy anime would be amazing.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Number 3. When Goku and Vegeta go Super Saiyan, do you think their pubes turn golden? What? When you go Super Saiyan, your hair turns golden, so logically, your pubes would turn golden as well. Jesse, what the hell are you talking about?
Further question. When Goku goes Super Saiyan 3, his eyebrows disappear. Do you think his pubes disappear as well?
Or do they get super long like his hair?
Oh,
Ooh.
God. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that's
You
why
just
he's
suddenly
got
see gold stuff come out of the pant
Okay,
leg bottom.
this-
Pickups.
that's why his trousers are so baggy.
Moving on.
Rapunzel,
wait,
let down
you
your
skip one.
weave.
I think you skipped one.
Did I? No.
No, okay, cool.
Yeah. 30 minutes more. 30 more minutes of sleep, or find out how jelly beans are made. Me at 4 a.m. How it's made is an addiction we all must suffer through.
Yep.
Actually, that's one of the better memes to do with this one I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not focused on the slap, it's focused on the other part. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mother finds out her son's bride is her long-lost daughter on their wedding day after spotting birthmark on her hand, but marriage goes ahead because the groom had been adopted.
Oh.
Anime, hentai, incest writers. Now this looks like a plot for me. I didn't want to sing that because my singing is terrible.
Okay, right. So my first one. This is a little bit of an odd one, but this is Sundere gum. Starts out sour, but turns sweet.
Oh my god!
Meanwhile, Yandere gum.
Oh my god! What the fuck?
Should we tag this?
What do you mean?
Gore?
Viewer discretion advised. No, it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's
next
fine.
one. That was the worst one. I wanted to make sure that one was out of the way first. Right, the new Hokages.
What the fuck?
Well, in Naruto, the Hokage, which are like the leaders of whatever tribe they're
Of the
from.
village, yes.
Yeah, they have their heads like as Mount Rushmore sort of thing behind the village.
Okay.
So that's
Gotcha.
the joke. Yeah. I don't know why I've never seen anything like this before because it's just so okay.
It's obvious,
Third
yeah.
one. Right, Crunchyroll ends free streaming for new and continuing series. Do you want pirates? Because that's how you get pirates.
I want those pirates.
Yeah, that outfit is whew.
Right. Number 5. Breaking Bad is a slow show. Not as slow as something else I know. Huh? What's that? I'm looking right at it now.
No.
I'm looking at it right now. Yep.
That's such a good Cosmo burn.
Right, and then number 6. Me getting
Nope,
excited
5.
for the new dress up huh?
5.
5. Oh, sorry. 5. Sorry. Me getting excited for the new Dress Up Darling episode this Saturday. Me realizing season 1 already ended. Yep.
I missed them already.
Yep. And then why introverts are so attractive. 7 reasons why introverts are so attractive. Introverts finding this video.
Not true. It's a lie. A lie. It's a lie.
God, it's funny.
A huge lie.
It's funny. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
No,
Right.
I like it too. It's good.
Cool. Right. So that's it for the memes. Next week, we're looking at the worst ending. So this is basically anime.
Sabikui Bisco is a strong contender.
Oh no! I got some. Oh, right. Okay. But yeah. So worst ending. Basically shows that are like either good or okay, and then the ending was just so monotonously bad that it was so not monotonously, so monstrously bad. Like it's the show. Right. So that is it for this week's episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And hopefully Loz will be back next week, and we'll have Thaylien as a special guest instead. So, okay, you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, Kanpai!